Hi everyone, and welcome to Yara's How to Use Atfarm video. So just a reminder for those that have used it before, and some brand new training for those that are new to Atfarm this year. So I'll kick off. My name is Natalie Wood. I'm the Agronomy Operations Manager for Yara UK and Ireland, and I've got some details up there in terms of contact information for any kind of Atfarm inquiries. So we've got the support team phone number there, which you can see is available Monday to Friday, 9:30 till 5. And then the email address as well if you have any queries. And then a little later I'll also show you how to contact us via some other ways as well. So if we get going, some of the topics that I'm going to cover today include an introduction to Atfarm itself, how to upgrade your account if you haven't done so already, a run through of how to add a field, creating a VRA map, connecting the end tester and taking a measurement. So if we start off with what is Atfarm, well, basically Atfarm is some web-based software that allows you to do various things. Primarily, you're mapping your fields. Without mapping your fields, you can't use any of the functions within Atfarm. So it's really important to map the fields. From there, you can then start to monitor the biomass of the crops, use the end tester Bluetooth device for nitrogen uptake and then recommendations, create variable application maps or VRA maps for nitrogen, create crop nutrition plans or CNPs, and overall you're going to increase your nitrogen use efficiency from using these digital tools. And this is based on many years of Yara trial data and knowledge. There's also the Atfarm app, which you will need if you want to use the Bluetooth end tester. If you haven't signed up, it's very simple to sign up. If you go to the web address there, app.at.farm, or if you want to just Google Atfarm, you'll be able to find it. If you're on the desktop, you'll see this version. If you're on the app, you'll see this. And you can see there, we just need some basic information. It will ask whether you're a farmer or whether you're an advisor. The difference there is if you register as an advisor, you'll have various clients within there. If you register as a farmer, you can have various farms, but you won't get the client option. So that's the difference between those two. So once you've gone to sign up, it will ask you a couple of options there, and then it's easy as that. You can start using Atfarm. So in terms of what we're going to go through, just before I click there, we'll start off with the upgrade, run through the fields, create the VRA map, and then the end tester. So once you log into Atfarm, you'll see I'm an advisor, so I can see different clients here. If I click on one of the clients, then I'll then see the farms. If you log in as a farmer, you will go straight to your farms section. So before I click on that, I will just show you how to upgrade. So if you've not yet upgraded to the end tester and VRA, you can click here in the bottom left, the button that says upgrade. Because I've already activated mine, of course, I won't have the options, but you will see here 3 different options, and which one you want to go for is the bundle option, which will give you access to the end tester and variable rate application, which will be free. So if you click on that, it will give you some options to put in a few details such as your name and address, and then the end tester will be shipped across to you, and you should have access to the variable rate application straight away. Okay, so if we go back to here, and if I click on my demo farm, so you can see these are all the fields that I've added into this particular demo plot. You see they are listed via the different crop types. And you can see they're all over the country here, so that's why we've got a pulled out map. If you zoom in, obviously you'll get all your fields in one particular area. So if we start off with how to add a field, it will kind of pinpoint your location, but there's various different ways that you can start to add a field. If you want, you can search for a town, postcode, address. Just as an example, I'll put in Bakewell. And you can see it'll go straight in there. So then it's as easy as either searching for your field, and I will go into later in terms of how to add a shapefile, which is easier than this way. But if you haven't got the shapefiles, then you can click on a field. It should automatically detect the boundaries. You can see it's slightly out there, so you can alter them. So if we go to outer boundary, you can see that you can easily alter the field there. The automatic detection system is quite good, so it will detect the field shape approximately for you, but if you do want to change it slightly, you can. So you can do it like that. You can click save. If you want to delete a point, you could do that here, or you can start over altogether. Another way is to upload as a shapefile. So if I click this, it'll say, do I want to change creation? Because I've already started drawing, so yes. And you can see there's various different options there for different shapefiles. So you can either select a file if you've got it in a folder, or you can drag and drop. So I've got one here, which I can drop into there. So you can see it's added that field. If you click to go to your fields, you'll see it's not got a crop type assigned, so it's this field here. If we then click on that, it'll ask for some more information. So it wants the region, which in this case is East Midlands. It then wants the crop class, so you can see the various options in there. If we go for winter wheat, we'll then want the type, so we'll want whether it's feed, milling, whole crop, etc. So if we select feed, you'll see we've got these three options, so nutrition plan, end tester recommendation, and variable rate application. If I change that, for example, to say linseed, you'll see we've only got the variable rate application option. Potatoes, you know, it just depends what crop you're putting in there as to what options you're going to get. So if we go back to winter wheat and select the crop type as feed, again, you'll see we've got these three, and then it's as easy as just saving your field there. So there you go, that is the field. We'll just wait for it to load. You can see we have this weather box here, which is kind of giving us a forecast and showing whether it's you know, good data to spread or not, determined from the weather conditions. But you can close that if you want, and it will minimize that box. So you can see that's how to add a field. If I go back to my demo farm and select a slightly bigger field, you can see here that we've got the various satellite images along the bottom. So this has selected the 22nd of March, which is the latest cloud-free image. Of course, we've had quite a lot of cloud cover recently, so you know, you will see these grey lines. That's where there's a cloudy image. And if I just click on show cloudy days, you will see it will give you all the options. So if I chose the 27th, which is a couple of days ago as I do this, you know, it's got a lot of cloud cover on there. Some of them will have complete cloud cover. So if I click on the 25th, you can see, you know, that's complete. So the last cloud-free image was this one on the 22nd. You know, satellite imagery does come with the cloud cover issue. You know, at the moment, there's no way around that within the system, but just go for your latest cloud-free image. So you can see this field here must be undrilled at the moment because we're down towards this lower scale of the different variation colors that you can see. So from there, you know, there's various different options. If we click on get a recommendation, we can do nutrition plan, end tester recommendation, or variable rate application. If I click on variable rate, you'll see that the options, it will give you automatically the latest cloud-free image. You can choose a different date if you want to, but I would suggest using the latest cloud-free. It will give you a warning if it's more than 5 days ago. But yeah, if you haven't got another image, you know, unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do. It will then ask you for the growth stage. So if we're thinking of, it's about growth stage 30 as I speak. So it will again ask you to go through to continue to end rate. So once you click through to this, you will see there's a target rate option there. If you have an end tester reading, you can use that to update the system. If not, you can specify manually, which it will give you a box to type in there. So if I, for my second application, want to target 80 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare, for example, you would put that there as your target N rate. There's also some upper and lower limits. So if you know I don't want to go below 50, and I don't want to go above 100, for example, you will see you can add whatever you like there. It has to be more than 10 away from the target rate, so you can't go higher than 70 in the lower limit, or you can't go lower than 90 for the upper limit. So it needs to vary by at least 10 kilos. And you can see there it's saying on average you'll put 8 kilos of nitrogen. It'll then ask you for your fertilizer. So there's various options in there. So we've got NS grades, Axan, straight nitrogen, urea, some of Yara's Chafer liquid grades, and also if you scroll down there are other options. So if we choose Axan, for example, it will automatically put in that it's 27% nitrogen. If we choose other granular urea, for example, it will put in 46%. So it will be exactly, what product you're using. It will give the option. If what you want isn't listed, you can also say generic other, and it will ask you to put in the percentage nitrogen there. So if we go back to Axan as an example, and then create VRA map. So there you go. You can see it's variably created a variability map across that field now based on the satellite images. So you can see that you've got two options here. Raster map, this is the most accurate, where you'll get an individual dot for each 20 by 20 meters square. If you want to click on zone map, then it will try and zone into various blocks. So you can see there, it's put most of it into the red and some yellow and green. If you want the most accurate version, then it's the raster map that you want to choose. You can see here as well, it's telling you the total amount of nitrogen required for that field, which then equates into the total fertilizer due to the size and the amount that you want to put on. If you want to manually edit, you can also do that. So if I zoom in here and decide, actually, this is a really poor area here where it's grayed it out. I want to have 0 nitrogen in here, then you can block some of that out if you want to. And equally, you think, well, that yellow circle there should have more, you can put change it to a higher rate. So once you're happy with your map, then you can continue to export, and you'll see it will switch across to kilograms of fertilizer per hectare, which is this different map you can see here, and then you can see the various different rates that it's putting on, color-coded at this key at the bottom. You can export various different files, so we've got John Deere, Trimble, N-Sensor, etc. And then you can also do shape files for other brands. So for example, if we click on John Deere, it will give you some options here, tell you to save it onto a USB, set up the terminal, and then upload for application. And then you can say, don't show this again once you're happy with that. Once you've downloaded your file, you should see it pop up at the bottom. So you can see that you've got this pop-up here of a zip file. If you click on that, this is your file that you need to upload to the USB stick and take to the terminal. Another option is to get a PDF. So again, this is great for record keeping, sharing with agronomists, etc. And it will show you all of the maps that are associated with this particular application. So you can see here we've got fields. So it shows you that original map, an application map that you can see there with the different colours and varying rates of nitrogen. If you scroll down, you will then get the kilos of fertilizer product that you've inputted as well. And then if you go down to the bottom, you'll see the original biomass map that it's using for this variation. So quite a useful bit of record keeping there for what you've just done on the variable map. So yeah, that is how you create a variability map. If you go back to fields, you'll see within the map we've just created. So you can see there, 29th of March, this is the map. If you can click on that, you'll go back to that map that you've seen there. You'll also see that there is the option for end tester recommendation. So if we run through that, if you try and do it on here, you'll see you'll get a pop-up. So if we go for get recommendation, end tester recommendation, and it'll tell you that you need to switch to the app now. So hopefully, if you've got the app downloaded, it's a similar process in terms of logging in with the same details that you use to create your farm. And if we head back to the slideshow, I'll just quickly go through in terms of what the end tester actually is. So this is the device itself. You can see it's a lot smaller than the older device, and it does connect via Bluetooth, hence the BT in the name. Within here, we've got this disc that you can see, which is the lens, and that's where you're trapping the leaf when you start to take your measurements. What this is doing is it's intercepting the light that's going through that leaf, and from that it can determine the chlorophyll content of the leaf. And we know that there's a direct correlation between the chlorophyll content in the leaf and the amount of nitrogen that's in the leaf as well. So there's a very strong relationship between those two. You can see that we can use it at various growth stages. So once the crop gets to growth stage 30, up to say 51. So we can use it in that timing. So you see we can use it for the second and third fertilizer applications in cereals there. And I'm just going to go through a quick demo in terms of how we actually do this on the app. So when you sign into the app, you'll have the same options. So you can see the farms there. If I click play, it will go through. So I've selected demo farm. It will then see your field list as in the desktop. And we're selecting field 1. So that same field. You'll then scroll down to analyze your crop with the end tester, and we'll click on start measurement there. It will give you the option in terms of which end tester you've got, which will be the BT, and then you'll go through some various options. So it will want the variety. You can either scroll through or you can type into the search box and select your variety that way. It will then ask for the growth stage, so you can see the 2 growth stages in there, and a yield expectation, so you can change that. It will also ask your soil SNS. It defaults to 1, but you can change that. And then it will ask you how much nitrogen you've already applied. So in this case, 50. And is this the last dressing, yes or no? It will then connect to your Bluetooth device. Once it's connected, it will ask you to calibrate, which basically means just pinching the device together. And then you're ready to take those measurements. I've skipped through a few here. So there are 30 measurements to take, and you want to take them in a W-shaped pattern representative across the whole field. Once you've got your measurement, it will tell you how much your recommendation is, and then it will give you some other options. So you can see the average end tester value there, the date it was done, the variety, growth stage, and all the other parameters that you've put in. You can also look at the individual values, so you can see, are they all very similar? Did I take one from a particularly weak part of the field? What you want to do with the end test, as I mentioned, is get a really representative sample. So if you do have a particularly poor area of the field, you'll want to treat that separately. And conversely, you know, if you have different soil types or anything different that you think will affect that reading, you will want to treat them differently, because what we don't want to do is have a large range within those end tester readings, because it will skew obviously the overall result. Just skip back slightly in the video there. So you can see once you've got all your readings, you can come out of that, click back, and it will go back to the other screen. That reading will be saved there, which you can look at by clicking end tester recommendations, click on it again, and again you'll get to see all that specific information for that reading. So that's how you would take an end tester reading. You can see that the crops that you can use the end tester on are listed in there. You can use it on other crops, but you won't get a recommendation. So you can always look at any plant really and get that 3-digit value, but you won't get a recommendation in terms of fertilizer there. So it's how you interpret that 3-digit value for that particular crop. In terms of getting help with any questions that you might have, you can see from this Atfarm homepage, there is a help center, which is circled there. If you click on that, it will take you through to this help center where there's various different topics that you can click on, and you can also type in that search box. So you can type various different things, what is Atfarm, etc. And if you do click on that, it will take you through to this page. So various different options there. If you still haven't found what you're looking for, there is the submit a request button as well, and that will take you through to this form where you can submit a question into there. There are also some FAQs within the app, so you can see there's some options there in terms of questions you might have. And again, if they don't answer your questions, you can click on the Contact Us, and it will give you some options there, which will also go through to the Help Center. So if I just go through some FAQs, why are there so many colors in the VRA maps? So you can see on this scale, we've got around 30 different colors within the variability map. If we think of NDVI alone, then I think that's a scale of 0 to 9 different colors. So only 9 levels of variation there. If we look at our 30 levels of variation, as you can imagine, this means that we can create a much more accurate variability map because we've got more colors in there to choose the level of variation. So it's a much more accurate way of getting a variability map. And the way that we do that is to team that satellite imagery and the NDVI we get from that with our N-sensor tractor mounted N-sensor algorithm, so we can get a much higher level of accuracy. Why is my field brown? So you can see this field here looks very brown, and that is because we're at the lower growth end of the spectrum. So I would suggest that this is a bare field, or a recently drilled crop which hasn't got much biomass. So that might be why your field is coming out as brown. Can I view days where there are clouds? So yes, as I showed earlier, if you click on Show Cloudy Days, which are these grey bits here, which is hidden, you will be able to see all of the satellite images that have been taken. But as I showed earlier, quite often they're partially white or all white, so you won't get much useful information from them. Can I use the N-tester on other crops? So as I mentioned, the N-tester itself is just a chlorophyll meter. It is looking at the level of chlorophyll within a leaf. So you can technically look at any green leaf through the N-tester. You won't get a recommendation because, as I showed, we've only got those crops in there that will give you a standard recommendation. The reason that some of the other crops aren't in there is because they perhaps don't have a strong enough correlation between the amount of chlorophyll and therefore being able to give you a recommendation based on the amount of nitrogen. But there's nothing to stop you yourself using the N-tester as the 3-digit value and doing some trials on your particular crop. And we have had people use it in all different crops around the world, all sorts of things, rice, maize, etc. So, there is scope to use it in other crops. But again, you're not going to get that recommendation. You're just going to be able to monitor that 3-digit value yourself. How do I connect the N-tester device? So I've shown, how to connect the device with the app. What you don't need to do is connect the device on its own. So there's no reason for you to need to connect the device without, mapping a field, getting your N-tester recommendation set up, adding your varieties, etc. Until you get to that final point when it says start measurement, that is when you'll connect the device. So there's no need to try and connect the device before you're ready to go into the field with it. Do I need the Atfarm app? So yes, if you're using the N-tester, then you definitely need the app because there's no other way to use the N-tester without going through the Atfarm app. As you can see, there is some functionality as well within the app to add fields, look at your fields, see the different measurements that you've done in there. So it is a useful app to have in conjunction with the desktop version of Atfarm. The variety isn't listed within the N-tester part of the app. This can happen. We need 3 years worth of calibration data to enable us to add new varieties into the app. So, you know, if it's a brand new variety, we're not going to have that calibration data. We take these readings year on year, but as I mentioned, we need a few years to be able to add it. So if that is the case, what you can do is look at the parents of the variety. So look at the 2 parents of the newer variety. One of those should be listed within the Atfarm app. So that's a way around it. How accurate is the N tester? So as I mentioned earlier, you know, it's a very accurate way of looking at the amount of chlorophyll that's in the app, and that does directly correlate through to the amount of nitrogen. And I think that correlation is something like 0.93 R squared. So it's, you know, it's a very accurate way of knowing how much nitrogen is in that crop. So yeah, definitely trust it. I guess one of the questions I get sometimes is, it's told me to put on, say, 40 kilos, but I've actually put on 50 because I didn't quite trust that it was enough. And then it turns out we've got some lodging. So with anything, you know, you need to trust the technology, and that's what I would say was key with the N tester. Quite often it will perhaps put on more than, it will put on less than you're expecting. You will want to put on more than it's perhaps telling you to. And I would say 9 times out of 10, or even 10 times out of 10, you know, people regret that decision. So just make sure that you trust what the device is telling you. Okay, and that's it from me. As I mentioned, if you have any questions or queries, then go through those help functions within the app or within the desktop, or you can email the hello@atfarm.com. Thank you.